when the health coach and the program, that vehicle that was going to assist me in releasing the weight came along, I had a little bit of resistance to that as well. Like you did. Like I was like, oh gosh, seriously? Like that's expensive. But I had a thought like you had too, like you need to allow this. That's going to fulfill the easy, fast, effortless, joyful experience that you are requiring now. Good morning, prosperity seekers. Welcome to another episode of The Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and I've been talking lately about the different cornerstones of prosperity, right? We want prosperity in our relationships, in our finances, in our health, and of course, our connection with God. And I really wanted to focus today on our prosperity with our health, with our body image, our weight, all of that. Now, I've shared with you a little bit of my story, releasing 45 pounds in about 4 months. And I understand that, people can be a little bit skeptical about that. Like, yeah, okay, it worked for you, but will it work for me? And I don't want you to take my word for it. And so I have brought on a guest who is absolutely dear to me. She was one of my former clients. We worked together in the Prosperity Approach and my group program called Rise Up. And I am just so excited for her to share her story today. Jill Hammon is absolutely incredible. And I'm going to bring her on right now. Jill, welcome to the Prosperity Approach.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and be able to share my story.
Oh, you know what? There are women out there who need your story and they need your flavor and the way that you tell it. So tell us about you. Who are you? Where did you come from? What are you up to in the world these days?
Perfect. So I grew up in Utah. I grew up in Syracuse and lived my life until I got divorced. And then I ended up moving into Clinton. So that's where I'm at now. I started in education and I was a teacher for about 16 years. And I was at the district level for the remainder of the time. When I was 52, I retired. With 30 years in education. And then I went and worked for a lodging company, Mountain Luxury Lodging and Vacation Rentals. And then I got my real estate license. And now I am health coaching and I am a real estate agent. And I'm also writing a book and just loving life. Life is great.
Holy cow, Jill. Like I just have to say, from education to real estate to health coach, and an author. Like those are some really amazing shifts that you have taken. So tell us, like, what brought you into the Prosperity Approach?
I think what brought me in initially was when I was looking at my life, I didn't have any dreams. I didn't have any direction. I knew something was missing, but I didn't know what it was. And I was frustrated. My life has been really good and I was grateful for that. But I kept thinking there has to be more out there. What's out there that so many people seem to have, or what's missing from my life? And I just kept feeling the promptings to go to some of these conferences. So the first one I went to the one in Pocatello that you were speaking at. And oh my gosh, I took notes after notes and I was so drawn to your message. And then after I went and talked to you for a minute and I just felt a kinship with you. And then after that, I went to the one in Ogden, and that's when you and I finally connected and I signed up for the program.
Did you have any concerns that almost prevented you from working together?
I think a few concerns. One of them was going back to I didn't really know what was out there for me. Another one, because I had been in a really unhealthy marriage all of my life, and we'd been married for 23 years and then got divorced. Because of that marriage, I think so much, I wasn't really willing to invest really money in myself and time. And so I think part of my hesitation was the money. And then part of it was, I just didn't really have any hope. I always felt like when I got divorced, I just felt like hope was a cruel word, and I didn't really have hope. And so I didn't really understand that life could be different and I could have something more than what I had. And so really there was no vision for me. I just didn't know what to do. I knew something was missing, but I didn't know what it was. And I didn't know if I wanted to invest the money to do something that I just didn't really think would really work. So
Oh, and I really appreciate that you spoke into that, because here's the thing, like, you are an intelligent woman. You're ambitious, you're independent, you're driven, and to not have that hope, I think so many people can resonate with that. Like, I've done all of these things and I've created this life, but there's still something missing. And, we kind of, not that I'm trying to put words in your mouth, but I know for me, I was like, what's wrong with me? And for a time, I didn't dare hope either, because it was just so crushing. It was so devastating. And then not to believe that it would actually work for me. And so that can be a really, really big hurdle for people to get over as they really start investing in themselves to a higher level and then doing something different. So what was it that just kind of pushed you over that hump and made you go, well, you know what, I must do this?
Well, I think part of it was I just continued to feel drawn to you, and I was prayerful about it and just felt like, yes, I needed to do this. I was really good in my life at compartmentalizing my life. Like my career, I was really successful, such a strong woman, so amazing at the things I was able to do. My home life was so different. It felt so different. I never felt like I was being my authentic and true self. I felt like I was always just trying to please my partner. And by doing that, I really shut down who I was as a person. Mm-hmm. And so it was a scary point to be at a place where you thought, oh my gosh, I could actually move forward, and there's something out there. I know it's there if I'll just take that leap of faith and do it. So for me, a lot of promptings from the Spirit to jump into it and to do it. So
I love that. I love that. Those promptings, I call them nudges, same thing. People, like you mentioned, like, you were drawn to me, you were drawn to my message. And, there's a part of me that's like, is tempted to feel, I don't know, important by that, except that I know what you were actually drawn to was what I represented, and possibilities of what is out there. Now, did you have like a specific thing you wanted to work on as you started implementing the prosperity approach? Because you mentioned like all of these successful things, but you're also a health coach now, and since we're talking about prosperity in our health, like, where were you in your body and your health and your image and your weight, like all of that at that time?
When I first started, it was all about, I wanted the financial things to come for me. Mm-hmm. And so the health kind of sat there in the back of my mind, but I had been heavy for years. Like most of my married life, I'd been heavy. I'm 5'9", and I was actually 5'10" when I was younger, but I'm 5'9" now. And the highest that I've weighed was 306. And so, and wearing like a 3X clothes and just really hating going shopping and stuff. And when I came to you, I lost a little bit of that, but the weight was such a huge issue for me. And so a lot of our first conversations were about, oh, it's the money. I want to do my money goals. But instead, it really was the weight. That was, to me, kind of the deal breaker in my life. That defined who I was and how I felt about myself. And I had so much self-anger and really so much self-hatred. One of the cute things you said to me was, Jill, you're one of the meanest self-talkers I've ever dealt with. And it didn't offend me. I was like, yeah, I get it. I know it. When you come from a really unhealthy place in a marriage and you look back at your life, I had so much weight that I was carrying around, and I knew it wasn't me. I knew like it was never me. It never felt like it was me. It was protection. It was emotional eating. It was codependency. It was all of those things, but it never was me. And so when I look back at my life, and I think that that was one of the main things I needed to work on, but it took me a minute to get there so that I was willing to work on it, because I had some other things I had to work on first. And part of that was self-love and really dreaming and knowing that I did have an opportunity to change things.
So what were some of the things that you worked on first? Like, I know you wanted to do money, and most people do for understandable reasons, but like what are some of the first things you did? What were some of the shifts that you felt first?
I love to read. And so one of the things that you provided was just a whole list of people that would change my mindset. So for me, changing my mindset and then realizing that mindset change actually applied to all aspects of my life, not just the financial health, but it applied to the spiritual health. It applied to the mental health. It applied to the physical health. And so that's one of the first things. I kind of immersed myself in the reading and in the work that you were having us do. Mm-hmm. And then having those hard questions for myself and starting to examine my triggers and the things that I really needed to look at in order to have change come about.
Absolutely. You know, I remember having a conversation with you. And so you started shifting more into like, I need to love myself. There were some trust issues that were going on. Like you didn't trust yourself. You didn't trust others. And so like we had to tread lightly for a little while, which is completely fine because there were a lot of wounds that needed to be healed, which is great. We're really great at that. But I remember because you had brought up the issue of your weight and that you didn't like how you felt in your body. You didn't like how clothes fit you and things like that. And as we started exploring that just a little bit, I remember very distinctly one time you were like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. When I shared with you what I had done in changing my beliefs and changing who I identified myself as, and then the program that dropped in, the health coach that dropped in, I remember like just boom, this wall of resistance. And you were like, oh, no, I've done stuff like that before. Oh, I don't want to do that. But it was, do you remember that conversation?
When you had me get in touch with your health coach, she didn't call me for a few days. So it gave me a chance to be really prayerful about it. And I was just like, Heavenly Father, what should I do? And I got the answer overwhelmingly, do whatever is offered to you. And so I think another thing that the program did is, even though it's not a program about religion per se, mm-hmm. It's a program about connecting with the universe, connecting with your higher power. And so I think I delved deeper into that as well. So that was beautiful. And so when that prompting came along, I listened to it. So when she called me and we were talking and I told her the past things, and I'd done a lot of stuff, like, it's not like I've sat there with that weight and went, oh, I'm just going to be this heavy all my life. I have done so many different diets. One, my mom and I did together. I still remember throwing up the strawberry shakes. Oh, no. They were awful. And so I've done crazy caffeine drops and just all kinds of stuff, and programs that are out there that many people have actually lost on that I could never lose on. So it was such a huge issue for me. So when your health coach called me, I was like, oh goodness, when she told me what I needed to do, I was like, I don't know. And she's like, should I just call you back in a few days? I'm like, no, sign me up now. If you don't, I won't do it. So happy.
Well, I love
that I signed up. So when I went to the doctor in June of 2020, I was 294. And so I started the program at the end of the month. And as of today, I'm 204.
If you like the conversation here, come have a deeper one with me in my free online challenge. You'll get live coaching from me as you discover how to achieve success without struggle. For more information, go to prosperityapproach.com/challenge or stick around to the end of the episode. Whoa, 90 pounds?
A little over 90, yeah.
Okay, so we're in February. So what are we looking at, 8 months?
7 months, yeah, 7 or 8 months, yep.
Oh, and how's been your experience with that, Jill?
Oh, it's been incredibly easy. And part of the reason why it has been so easy, Allyson, is because of some of the strategies and skills that you've given me. So the morning routine, oh goodness, that morning routine is my heart. And if I don't do it, then I just feel so off-centered. The things that I say to myself the things I say to myself every single day. And I always tell myself, this is easy. I can do this. This is easy. So it has been an incredible journey. And I look back and I'm like, 90 pounds, seriously, who does that in that amount of time? And I feel like the skills I gained from you absolutely started me on this path and gave me a foundation. And then I feel like the program provides the nutrients that I need to, and then the support and help as well. Health coaching is amazing. You know, it's such a soul thing. The one thing that I really found on this journey that I didn't realize was missing is I have such a centering in my life. And it's hard to explain the centering, but I feel like instead of all these triggers and all these things happening that set me off, I'm more centered and I can go, oh, I don't actually want to do that, or I don't want to think that. That's not a thought coming from me, you know, that's not my thought. I'm not going to entertain that. And so just feeling good about myself, feeling good about, like, I feel like my heart is connected with people at a time when we're not really connected with all the things with COVID going on. I feel like COVID has been such a challenge for everyone, but I feel like for me, it's been, this time has been a time of reawakening who I am and what I really want out of life.
You know, and I appreciate that so much because, and here's the thing. You said you felt this centering now that you didn't know was missing. And I think it's, well, I'm pretty sure I know what that is because you shifted your identity. You shifted with what you related to about yourself and the meaning about yourself and the meaning that you gave things and situations and events. And you talked about like who loses 90 pounds in 7 or 8 months. More important than that, how has the experience been?
Oh, it's been incredible. Well, I like to shop and when you're a bigger gal, you spend more money shopping because you have to go to the different stores, you know, to get what you need. Mm-hmm. And then the colors, seriously, why aren't those colors as beautiful as they need to be? And so for me, it has been so much fun to get rid of all these old clothes. And in the past, honestly, I would have kept them. And I did. I kept the clothes. When I lost the weight, I'm like, I might someday get into those clothes, so I'm going to keep them. And so this time I have bagged them up, bag after bag after bag, and sent them on their merry way. And it's just been incredible to look back. Like, I don't look in the mirror now and go, you need to lose some weight, girlfriend. I look in the mirror and I think, wow, look what all you've done. What a great journey it's been.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. And that was the biggest difference that I found. So I had an experience kind of similar to you. I wasn't shut down to the point where you were when you found me and when we started working together. But I had done the crazy diets like you had. I'd done the back and forth and the roller coaster. And it always felt like I was hanging off the edge of a cliff by my fingernails, holding on for dear life. And as soon as the weight was gone and it was over, then I could be like, oh, thank you. Now things can go back to normal, right? And it was hard and it was awful. And I felt like I had to like duct tape my mouth shut anytime I would go to the grocery store because I wanted to eat everything in sight. And when I applied the prosperity approach and changing my subconscious beliefs and how I identified as who I identified with as myself and relative to food and all of that, when the health coach and the program, that vehicle that was going to assist me in releasing the weight came along, I had a little bit of resistance to that as well. Like you did. Like I was like, oh gosh, seriously? Like that's expensive. But I had a thought like you had too, like you need to allow this. Like this is what has come in as the vehicle that's going to fulfill the easy, fast, effortless, joyful experience that you are requiring now in order to release this weight. So you need to trust that and step into that, which I did, you know, and I look at you now and like, I've always seen this version of you. Like I've always known that she was there, and it's so beautiful that you have stepped into that version of you as well. But I remember I remember the Jill that first came to me, and you were asleep and you were shut down, and it wasn't just asleep, it was just this like this protection mode. There was just so much that you felt like you just needed to be protected. And we all have that, we have heartache in our lives, and when we feel like our heart has been pummeled over and over and over again by life or by circumstances or relationships, like it can make us really, really gun shy to want to try anything else again. And yet from a person who came from just feeling hopeless and feeling shut down and that nothing would ever work to this, which is still you, like you're not this totally different person. You're just the next level of Jill. And it's so inspiring for me to see this, that you've embraced this, that you identify with this version of you now, and you step in and you say yes to this. And I think that the other women that are listening to you, that are watching this podcast as well, think, oh my word, if she can do it, well then maybe I can do it too. Maybe she understands where I am and can help navigate me through that. You're a tough case, Jill. Like you're stubborn. You're a stubborn lady.
There's no question, Allyson. It took a bit to get me where I'm at, but oh my goodness, I'm so grateful. I said yes, said yes to you, said yes to the program. Before I started on program, I was walking 4 miles a day. And I was eating, I would go to the grocery store because COVID had hit, and I would go in and buy all kinds of crap, chips. I love ding dongs. I'm just going to put that out there. Some people are probably going, oh my gosh, seriously. But, all that kind of stuff. And I'd be like, okay, this will last me a month. And like 3 days later, I'd be like, where did it all go? Because there was such an emotional eating going on. My issue is emotional eating and stuffing down my feelings. And so to be able to go on to a nutritional program that feeds my body and makes me feel good, I've not had one thing that isn't on program. I've not had one piece of candy, Christmas, nothing. I didn't do any. I was like, yeah, this is important to me. My health is important to me. So I guess I would say to anyone who is thinking that it's hopeless, because that's really how I felt, it was hopeless, that it's not hopeless. There are ways out there to help you. I remember being encouraged highly by numerous people to get gastric bypass surgery. And I just was like, oh, I just don't think I can do that. And, when other people are trying to tell you, do this, do this, do this, do this, you're like, I'm not doing any of it. And for me, that's that stubborn part. I just shut all of that down. And I just always felt like, why can't you love me the way I am? Why am I not good enough? But the thing that I learned through all of this program, through working with you, is that love first comes from you, and then it radiates out. And so you love yourself and you expect others to treat you with that love. And they reciprocate wonderfully and bring it all back to you. So what you throw out there is going to come back to you. So
absolutely. Well, and you talk about, okay, you haven't gone off program at all, which is beautiful. So here's my question, like going through the holidays and candy and desserts and all of that, did you want them?
No, I actually didn't. I didn't have any cravings for them. Normally at 3 o'clock would hit and I'd be like, oh, I gotta have something. But no, I didn't have any cravings. I didn't want them. The only issue that came up was sugar cookies, because I'm like a master sugar cookie maker. And all I said was, not this year, but next year for sure, we'll make them. But we're not going to do it this year. So I've done a lot of things to tell my brain, it's okay. You're not going to have it right now, but at some point you will. Because the idea is to, totally go off of program and to be able to get back back on eating all the foods that I want to have. So in moderation, but I've learned so much about myself that it will be a successful journey.
Oh, I mean, it already has been like, holy cow, holy cow. And that's the thing too, like those shifts that you made, because I'm all about the inner game, right? Like we can't throw another diet program at anybody if the inner game isn't being played correctly, because the inner game will always change your outer results. Always. But we want to keep the outer results changed, right? We don't want to, release the 90 pounds and then 2 years later, we got 150 that we need to release, right? And so when we play the proper inner game and we play the game to win instead of playing it not to lose, then your outer results will they always match the inner game that you're playing. And so before I grasped that and then was able to develop what I developed in Rise Up, I was playing the inner game not to lose rather than playing the inner game to win. And so I remember somebody saying I was 40 pounds overweight and then I, oh gosh, what'd she do? I think it was Rhonda Byrne. She was applying The Secret, her big book. And she was like, and I can eat anything I want. And I lost 40 pounds and I can eat anything I want. And so when I was playing the inner game not to lose, I was like, so you can eat crap all day long and just by using the law of attraction. But no, actually what happens is you start to think differently and you don't want those foods. Like you crave something else. Like you are so satisfied by the healthy, like the veggies and just the roughage and like all of that. And I realized after I had changed my beliefs and I was playing the inner game to win now, that it wasn't that I could eat anything that I wanted. I could, but I wanted things that supported me and sustained me in that healthy weight. And it sounds like that's what's going on with you as well, that you're just like, except that this sugar cookie isn't leading me to where I'm still headed. And it's not that I'll never have a sugar cookie ever again, just not right now, because I've got other more important things than putting sugar cookie in my body.
Well, and I think it's valuing yourself. I think so I think this whole journey, when I look back at this last year, I feel such a love for myself that I've never felt for years, in an acceptance of really all my flaws, but also all my strengths. And I think before I would discount those strengths, yes, and be like, yeah, I know that about me. But now I look at those and I see them as the gifts that they are. And there's just such a love for who I am that I definitely, when I first met you, I did not have, it was not there for sure.
Oh, and I mean, you glow, Jill. I mean, just my gosh, you just glow. All right. So what is the single most important thing that people should know about the prosperity approach?
It's real. The conversations are real. The conversations are safe. They'll get you where you need to go. You work at it, but the work is rewarding work. And it makes it so that when you look back at your life, I have no regrets at all about that time I spent, the money that I spent. I don't have any regrets at all. I'm just so grateful that I've found you and the program and the promptings that I had to do the program. So yeah, I think what they need to know is it's real. It's change can happen, and it can happen in such a positive, wonderful way. In a way that nurtures you and your soul and what you need. It's not like you're ripping off the Band-Aid. It's that you're loving people and you're caring about them and you're helping them to see their value and what and their place in the world, that they matter. And I think there's just so many resources that you bring into it and such good thoughts that you can't help but be successful in whatever the endeavor is that you want, whether it's a money issue, whether it's relationship, whether it's health, whatever happens at the other end of it will be a benefit to you.
Oh, and thank you. And you are worth it. You are 100% worth it. So Jill, first of all, thank you so much for sharing and serving so many people today. And I know you have brought hope to them. You have brought a glimmer of light and a daring for my audience today. And so I appreciate that so much. And I also know people are going to want to know how to find you. and perhaps you can share more of your story with them and how they can work with you. So tell us, how can people find you?
Probably the best way is on Facebook, and my Facebook name is Jill Snyder, Snyder, Hammon, Hammon. So you just friend me and I'll friend you back, and we can have a little chat. And yeah, life is beautiful. Life is good. And such a scary time in the world right now. We need all the good things happening, and just sending love out to those who have had such tragedy in their lives from COVID and the things that have happened, and sending love out for a really good life that we've been given. So appreciate all that. And appreciate you, Allyson.
Oh, you know what, Jill? You kept showing up even when it was uncomfortable, and you just kept showing up for you. And what an honor and a privilege it has been for me to walk your path with you for a little while, and then to see you soar. I mean, you're not walking, you're not running, you are flying, you are soaring and touching so many lives and changing so many lives. And it is just a privilege to have been a small part of your journey. So thank you.
I appreciate that greatly. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this has been an amazing conversation. For those of you who have tuned in, thank you so much. Go see Jill. Go to her Facebook page. We've got the links included in the email that you got. We've got the links included below this podcast. So reach out to her. If you're feeling that prompting, if you're feeling that nudge, if you're feeling just a tiny little flicker of whatever that is, trust it. Trust it and follow it. That's your higher self. That's God that's giving you a little nudge and a little push, and you can trust it and follow it. And it will lead to blessings that are unimaginable to you right now. We'll see you next time on The Prosperity Approach.